save babies so prematurely now. Like, we're going to see more special needs and disability and autism, and this problem is not going away, and we better get a handle on it as a society, or we're going to have a mental health crisis with our parent caregivers.
Welcome to Parenting Special Needs Live. I'm Shantae. As a caregiver, do you sometimes feel like you're unseen, not recognized, or supported? Have you ever heard the statement, society is only as healthy as its caregivers? Well, our guest today has said that statement. She's also produced a documentary called Unseen, and is the host of the podcast Coffee with Caregivers. And I've asked her here today to talk with us about the film Unseen and the health of caregivers in our society. And to share with us, I'd like to welcome Jess Ronne. She's a caregiver advocate, an author, a speaker, an executive director, documentary producer, and a mom to 8 children. Her son Lucas has profound special needs. Please join me in welcoming her to the show. Welcome, Jess, to the show. She's a busy lady, so thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good. How are you?
Good. Wow, you have a lot on your plate.
I do.
You do. Wow. So I have to just breathe after all that. Whew. Anyway. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. So I'm interested to hear about the statement that you said. Is your statement, right? You came up with that. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Society is only as healthy as its caregivers?
Well, I think that statement came from a place of recognizing that society is built on caregiving. We enter the world needing care, and most likely we will leave the world needing care. And we're fortunate if we don't require it in between. And recognizing that we have really lost respect for the caregivers, including parent caregivers. And until we get this foundation figured out in society again and get back to this tribal model where we take care of one another, and we enter into community with each other, and we respect those caregivers that come into our homes and help us take care of our children, I don't think that we are going to be a very healthy society. And I think we see the detrimental effects of our lack of caring for one another with all the depression and anxiety issues and all these mental health issues that are just skyrocketing. And I believe it's because we don't see each other anymore. We just don't care for each other anymore.
No, I agree. I think you're right. And so when did you guys, I'm going to switch up a little bit and just ask you about the documentary you've produced or you worked on. It's called Unseen. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's called Unseen: How We're Failing Parent Caregivers and Why It Matters. And just to give you a little bit of the backstory, in 2017, I started a nonprofit called the Lucas Project, and our mission was to provide parent caregivers with recognition and respite. And the respite part was easy. We offered a monthly respite day out of a local school, but the recognition was a little bit trickier. And I was just racking my brain trying to figure out how could we peel back the curtain of our lives, which are very isolated, because the world just isn't made for us. And how could we invite people into our complex and complicated lives? At the time, my family, which has a unique backstory as well, had been approached a couple of times about doing a reality show. And we were not interested in that. I often joke that the mothers don't look very good in those shows. And I was like, not going to put myself out there, but it got my wheels turning a little bit. And I thought, maybe we need to produce a documentary so that we can show society exactly why we're so desperate for more support and resources. And I just pitched my idea in this Facebook post in 2018, just saying, I have this grand idea. I'd love to create a documentary. If anybody knows of a filmmaker. The next day, a filmmaker and his wife reached out. We met for lunch, and 4 years later, we created a documentary. So the rest
I want to work with you about maybe sharing that or figuring out a way to showcase that. So we'll talk about that after this. But no, I would love to, because it's I haven't seen it, so but it's geared towards educating everyone, right? As well as helping families, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
I mean, the feedback we get, caregivers love it because they actually feel seen. And then society, I mean, that's really the audience that we're targeting. We want society and lawmakers and policy changers to watch it and take it to heart and start to implement various resources and funding for families like ours. Autism rates are skyrocketing. Our ability to even save babies so prematurely now, like we're going to see more special needs and disability and autism, and this problem is not going away, and we better get a handle on it as a society, or we're going to have a mental health crisis with our parent caregivers, excuse me.
I agree. And just the toll that it takes. And as you age, you know, I'm older than you are, but like it gets tiring. And it's just the constant state of stress that we're under, you know, that people don't understand either, you know, even if you're not like, we don't think we're in stress, you know what I mean? Because we're used to dealing with it, but still it feels like it's a state of stress on time. So what has been one of your biggest challenges as a parent caregiver, or you know, challenges that parents face as caregivers, and you personally too?
We dealt with a lot of lack of respite. When we lived in Tennessee, we moved to Michigan about 2 years ago, and that was a good move for our family. We've been able to find friends and family and paid caregivers to step in and really help us out here. And then more recently, like the $1 million question, what happens as Lucas gets older? Lucas will require total care for the rest of his life, and he will be turning 19 this August. And that question would haunt me. It would keep me awake at night. Like, am I doing this when he's 40 years old, 50 years old? Like, where does it end ever? And just recognizing I have 7 other children also who need me and who will probably get married and have grandchildren or have their children that will be my grandchildren. And so we kind of took matters into our own hands and created a solution, which as we get further along, we hope to be able to educate and help other families also create similar solutions for their loved ones.
So, well, now you mentioned that, so you want to share a little bit about that? So what's your solution? Because I'm just about there. I need a solution. Mine's 26, so I'm ready for a solution.
Yeah, we bought a farm, a farmhouse and a big barn, and we're going to create residential housing for 4 to 6 individuals, including our son Lucas. And then we're going to turn the big white barn into a respite center that we will operate through the nonprofit, the Lucas Project, and provide community respite for caregivers and their children.
Wow, you are fantastic. I have to give you kudos. A lot of stuff you've done. Wow. You know, I mean, that's great. I'm curious, just because you said it and I'm interested in learning more, like when you guys set up the respite in the school systems, like how did that work? Because I think that's something, you know, my daughter has autism. She's high functioning. There's still time. Like we don't have necessarily the help always that we need, or, you know, I still feel isolated in a sense because you can't go all the time because you can't leave them anyway, whatever. I don't mean to just make it about me, but it's like everybody I know, all of her circle of friends, parents that age, they're all in the same boat as we are. Like, where is the respite? You know, like where do you get the break?
Well, when we started it, we didn't really know what we were doing. That's one thing about me. I just kind of jump in and hope it turns out. And so
no, I love it.
I just contacted a local school and said, we'd like to offer a 5-hour chunk of time to special needs families completely free of cost for the special needs child and also the typical siblings, so that the caregivers can get a break. Yeah, we just jumped in. We asked if we could use their facility and they agreed. And we just started offering a once a month 5-hour chunk of time to the families completely free of cost. They would drop off their kids, and we were fundraising just to pay for the director and pay for the supplies, but it was very bare bones, but it was consistent. Like even that consistent 5-hour chunk of time every month, parents knew that they could rely on that. And I think it can be that simple for families. Just that consistency, like knowing every 3rd Saturday, I get a 5-hour chunk of time completely to myself to take a nap or go shopping or whatever I want to do.
And how did you have people help you? Like how did you get people to help for caring for the kids? Like, how did you reach out? I'm just wondering, like, if someone else wanted to do, or if we wanted to do it in our own town, you know, like, who did you ask to help?
We had a lot of volunteers from the school. And when it is only once a month, I think that's an easy obligation for people to embrace, because you're not asking too much of them. And then I would advertise on social media, just asking for volunteers. And then we did hire a director who was also a school teacher, so she ran the program. But it wasn't that difficult to find volunteers willing to help out.
Oh, I love that. I have a couple of ideas spinning in my head now. Okay, great. I'm gonna take your ideas and run with them. So thank
Do
you.
it.
So all right, so go back. How do I want to find out, like, because how do people see the movie Unseen?
Well, if you go to caregiverdoc.com and subscribe to our newsletter, we have private showings around the country right now. And we also offer it for streaming at certain points throughout the year. So if you sign up for the newsletter, you can get all of that information. And we actually have an online streaming coming up February 26th. If you go to the lucasproject.org, you can find all of the information for that screening on our website.
Okay, and that was caregiver
doc.com.
Okay, all right. Wow, all right, well, that's kind of exciting. So that means anybody can tune in and see it streamed during that time.
Yep.
And then also, you have several books, you've authored several books, so you have a new one coming out in February too. Wow.
I do. I actually have it right
You're
here.
a rock star, girl.
Yeah.
Wow, what's it called?
Lovin with Grit and Grace.
Wow.
Basically, my publisher came to me and said, statistically, you and your husband have about a 5% chance of making it because it's our second marriage. Both of our first spouses passed away from brain cancer in 2010. We blended our 7 children, had a baby together. We have profound disabilities on top of grief and trauma and all kinds of things. And we're going on 12 years together. So they said, would you write a book on marriage? And I said, I'm not a marriage expert. And they said, we know, but just share your stories about what's worked and what hasn't. And so we wrote a book on marriage, and it's coming out February 14th.
Wow. Oh my gosh, wow, that sounds interesting. Okay, so February. Yeah. Wow. So you have so many things you've done. God bless you guys. Wow.
I like to stay busy, apparently.
I guess. I'm
maybe
like,
it's
I think I'm
maybe
busy.
it's coping.
I'm like, you got this, and wow. So that's awesome. Okay, so anything I didn't ask you about that you would like to share about? I mean, I'm excited to all of your stuff is so interesting. Even the last book, I think that's awesome.
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. I think my website is jessplusthemess.com, and all my things are on that website.
Okay. What are the ages of your children? Will they range from what to what?
20 to 7.
God bless you, girl. Wow.
A couple of them behind me there.
Yeah, oh, I see him. Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much. And how is the farm? It's not up and running just yet. Are you still in the works on that, or is it?
Yes, we had demo day about 2 weeks ago.
You're building it, okay?
No, we were
building it,
demolishing. Yes, and we've had so many volunteers reach out and offer their time. So as volunteers come and help us out, we go in and we do what we need to do. We just really have faith that the right people will come along and want to be a part of this project, and that has happened so far. So we're not in a huge hurry. Ideally, we'd like it to be up and running by this fall, but if it takes longer, it takes longer.
Wow. Well, you are certainly an inspiration to everybody. I mean, all the stuff you do, that's fantastic. I can't thank you enough for taking some time out to spend with us. And I want to hear more. So you'll have to send us pictures about as the farm gets built.
Oh, yeah.
How that's going.
We're on social media, Hope Farm Village.
Hope Farm Village. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. All right. So wait a second. Let's repeat everything, because that's a lot for everyone to take in. All right. So you got the new book coming out, Love. Let me just see if I can remember. Love and Grit and Grace.
Lovin.
Yeah. Lovin with Grit and Grace. Okay, that comes out February 14th. The movie, if they go on your caregiverdoc.com, that is going to tell us when the movie is available, streaming various places. And that movie is called, it's a documentary called Unseen. Mm-hmm. And then you have Hope what's it called?
Hope Farm.
Hope Farm. Oh my gosh. So, and you have other books available too. So you have quite a bit, right?
Yep.
Wow. Well, it'll be interesting to see how your story progresses with your family and your husband and everything. That's awesome. So thank you so much for joining us today. Well, we're gonna sign off. I want to say thank you for joining us today. Good luck with all your endeavors. I'm really excited to see the movie and to share about it and to check out your new book. And for all of you that have tuned in today, thank you for watching. And in case no one has told you today, you're doing a good job. Be good to you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.